Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Don't Be Afraid of the News. I'm Josh McClain. Right off the bat, let's get started here. Walmart has asked the Supreme Court to review a sexual discrimination case where that could cost the company upwards of $1 billion. This has been an ongoing 9-year battle for the company, and it's looking to appeal this large court, not because of the claims, but the sheer fact that they let all the plaintiffs together go to court at the same time. This is the largest sexual discrimination case in the history of America, with a capital over 1.5 million plaintiffs coming to the cause. This started basically at the fact of a very simple thing, that they're discriminating against any kind of promotions or any extra benefits for women that they offer men. Only 1/3 of the managers for Walmarts are women, whereas 2/3 of the entire employee population are women. So, yeah. Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog, beloved puppet, created by Jim Henson back in 1955, has been donated to the Smithsonian Museum for all to love for the rest of time. This loved puppet, is, you might remember from Sesame Street or the Muppets, different commercials over the years. I personally will always think fondly and always understand that it's not easy to be green. Cuba's elderly will no longer be entitled to state-subsidized cigarettes. At the age of 55 or older, you get 4 packs per month at 25% off the regular price. This is just, I guess, one of the few things that you have at that point that you can guarantee you get your cigarettes when you're at a certain age. Well, they're not going to be able to get them at a cheap price anymore. They're going to have to pay just like everybody else. The thing that makes this interesting is that peas and potatoes were eliminated from the same thing back in November of last year. So they already have to go back to paying full price for vegetables, such as peas and potatoes, and now they're losing their tobacco too. Someone's getting screwed. Ötzi, the Iceman, or Little Johnny Frostbite to his friends, is the 5,000-year-old corpse found in Italy some years ago, back in '91. It's now believed that he was ceremoniously buried. It's already known that he was murdered through an arrow wound found on him. It's believed that he was murdered, but it's also believed that up to a month later is when they ceremoniously buried him. And this would be about 3000 BC when this would have taken place in time. And it's just amazing what you can find out with a little digging if you pay a little attention. Brian Wilson has released a new CD where he tackles the mighty Gershwin. The Gershwin family came to him a couple years ago asking if he wanted to take on some stuff because he had listed that it's one of his all-time favorite composers. He was given over 102 unfinished piano songs for him to dig through and decide what he wanted to do to try and pick up to 4 to 5 songs from. He ended up making an entire record. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, when with the people who you looked up to as a child and are part of the reason you do what you do, asked to work on and finish something that somebody as brilliant as Gershwin did himself. The main reason I bring this up is like, when is the last time anything that has anything to do with classical music been brought up in the news of any kind? Supercomputer simulators indicate conditions of the birth and growth of the colossal black holes at the centers of galaxies are probably formed shortly after. Jesus Christ. Supercomputer simulators indicate. Hold on, man. There's something right with that. That's not reading at all. Supercomputer simulators are now indicating conditions for the birth and growth of the colossal black holes at the centers of galaxies are probably formed shortly after the Big Bang. The supercomputer now simulates how gases behave and translates at the galactic level. See, what this is they figure out what exactly like an atom would be at that time. What they can boil it down to just what that basic beginning thing is, and then add in all their fancy numbers and all kinds of stuff that I really wish I was smart enough to even half explain to you right now in layman's terms, but I just don't get it. I really hope that they're beginning to figure out what the actual puzzle pieces to the beginning of all existence could be. I mean, how awesome would that be that we actually did figure out where the hell we all came from. But in the same breath, what else would that bring up as far as turmoil, and when that causes to other people's faiths and it challenges other people's faiths, what they're willing to do to prove those people wrong. We already know the difference in creationism and evolutionism and the fight to the fight for both ends to be taught to schools. So how long would it be before we'd actually get to teach kids this kind of stuff? Our last story of the night. Uganda's anti-homosexuality bill that was introduced this week by a member of parliament seeks to eradicate homosexuality in Uganda and to be a model for the rest of the world. Among the proposals are prison terms for Ugandans who fail to report a homosexual within 24 hours, lifelong prison sentences for a single homosexual act, a death sentence that ranges from having gay sex while HIV positive, having gay sex with a disabled person, or to being classified as a serial offender. Now, this is just me personally speaking here, folks, but this sounds awful lot like the beginning of how the Nazis started. You pick something that you don't like, and you start wielding out the pie from there. It starts off small, or not so small as this is, and it ends up going where it doesn't need to, or where you don't expect it to. Thank God this is just something that's been put out in Parliament, and it's not a full-on law yet, because when it does, it'll be pretty sad it ends up who listens and pays attention to that in the wrong possible ways. This is Don't Be Afraid of the News. We'll see you next time. Thank you.